Okay, well, hey, we're live, but there's nobody in the thing right now. If anybody, is there anybody in there?
Yeah.
Just not if you can hear me.
What's happening, everybody? Come
Hey,
on.
hello.
Got to see if sometimes StreamYard backs up and all of a sudden, see, Gillian's there.
Gillian's there. I don't know where Bruce is. Bruce is. He just got home a little while ago. He's locked up in something. But we did push the time up from 8:30 to 8. So
right.
Maybe people haven't caught up to that yet, which is fine. So what have you been up to? How's the frozen tundra?
Oh, it was that past couple of days. We got about another 4 inches or so. Today things started melting, but I think it's supposed to start snowing again.
That's where it gets scary. When that melt and then freeze and melt, that's when you start getting those sheets of ice all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, snow likely tomorrow night. So like Gillian said earlier today, we had a whole heat wave. We got up to 50. Woo-hoo! You know, but now it's already 36 and it's dropping down into the mid 20s.
Wow.
And tomorrow the high is 39. Oh my God, Monday. It's going to be 60, Tuesday 67, maybe spring's fixing to pop in around.
What the hell you say? I don't believe that. You're going to get another. Didn't you get snow in May last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
winter was really late. It wasn't that heavy. We had a couple of big storms, but then everything melted off. But then it was like late. Winter came in. Remember, I bought a smoker while Gillian was running to Cleveland, and I put it together and went to go outside and was so proud. And I got hit with snow, and I'm like, "What the hell?" So I learned about the false spring. But this right now is that's what this is saying, but it changes. But 67 on Tuesday. Wow, heat wave.
I don't know what you're going to do with yourself.
I don't either.
Hello, Donna and Deborah.
Hey.
That'll be the day that you have to go to that doctor's appointment or something, and you'll be all out of it for the one spring day.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Donna asked about my dental appointment, and all they did was give me a referral to my oral surgeon. So I still got the broken tooth in my head. And now, instead of him taking it out on Friday, we're going to have a conference about it. And then we'll do it next week. So I'm like, yeah. I learned a long time ago, don't take your gun to the dentist. You're apt to
remove it. Just why can't what?
Yeah.
No. You know.
Right. I'm ready to hand Gillian pliers and say, do it. Do it. Get some clover. But Donna, thank you for your concern. I appreciate it very much. And Debbie and Cynthia and all that. I appreciate everybody's concern. Mm-hmm. So so what's been going on with you?
Not much. Work and all that good stuff. It's finally warmed up here. Got my hair cut. I don't know if anybody can tell.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a whole lot. I completely blew off this whole last moon cycle. This whole hullabaloo that everybody was having.
Yeah.
I just was like, you know what? I don't feel like it. So I did it. Gillian texted me at 6 a.m. She's like, I can't see the eclipse. Well, down here in Florida, we should have been able to see the blood moon. So you guys would see the eclipse, but we would see the red moon down here.
Right.
Based on all the internet research. So I go flying out the front door. Bruce is like, what's the matter? What's going on? Like, I'm in my pajamas running out the front door. And I'm standing around the front yard going, and he thinks, like, I don't know, something. Maybe I'm sleepwalking, something. Something is wrong with Brigitte because this is very odd behavior. I couldn't see the moon at all. I could not find the moon in the sky at all. So I said to him, there's supposed to be a blood moon. Do you see the moon? It's supposed to be red. And he's like, I don't see the moon at all. And I'm like, okay. And I turned around and went back inside. And I'm not sure that he realized what I was doing. And he didn't just think that maybe I like woke up from a dream or like I'm sleepwalking or whatever, because he's like, you all right? You okay?
Yeah, no, I don't see a thing.
And you know, I'm saying weird shit. Like, you see the moon, it's supposed to be red. So I'm sure he probably thought I was my ever loving mind. But that's about as far as I got with it. I didn't do anything else. I didn't do any candle work. I didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything either. Gillian was talking about it, telling people, just said out loud, you know, kind of what I'd like to release and where I'd like to go. But as far as running outside or doing the candles or even taking, you know, our crystals outside, which we usually do on a full moon sometimes, things like that, you know. And it was, I was like, okay, I got done here. Now, I will tell you one thing about being up here. It's really cool. With the full moon, I did not see the whole lunar eclipse, but it was so bright and all the snow on the ground. And we have bay windows in our bedroom and stuff and in the house. It's literally with the moon, with the light from the sun reflecting off the moon and the moon into our yard. It was lighting everything up. Literally had to close a curtain,
like
really,
Stadium.
to get sleep. Once I woke up, you know, I was like, okay. And
hey, Melissa, she's coming from New Zealand, Rob.
Wow. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Good Lord, it's got to be 3 o'clock in the morning in New Zealand. Was your moon red, Melissa? I'm curious. Did you get to see the red part of it, or did you just get to see the eclipse?
I'd love to see that. Now, see, when y'all think Gillian's so sweet and everything else, okay, she's secretly trying to kill me. Do you see right there? It says, let's all get the Rev to do a polar bear plunge. My heart would stop. Now, used to, when I was a kid, I'd have been all over it, trying it, you know, doing whatever. I don't dive in the springs in Florida anymore without taking 20 minutes to inch my way in.
Right, to inch in because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Yes, Melissa, you got to see the red moon. That's awesome. I missed it. And Bruce said, yes, he thought I was nuts. What else is there? Is that even news? Like him thinking I'm nuts? But I really think he thought that, I think he thought there was something wrong. So, like, you know, like I was dreaming or having some episode or something.
Yeah. No, we talked about it on the show on Monday night. It's coming up because it happened on Tuesday. And what, you know, about it being a great time to release and talk about closing chapters. And it fit in real good because I've been talking about trauma so much and everything else. So we're going to finish that part up on Monday on the show with different things that we're going to talk about. But other than that, you know, a lot of people think, you know, we talked about this with cord cutting, that you can just, closure. I love the term closure, you know, like, oh yeah, there's closure. That's such a sought after word to try to, there's no closure. There's moving on. That's all there is. It doesn't mean
one or the other. Yeah. Maybe closure is, when I think of closure, I think like closure for me often is like, just understanding why somebody did something,
right,
and then being able to cope with it.
Right.
It doesn't just go away, but at least I have a clearer understanding, right, of why you were such an asshole, or why this thing happened.
Exactly, kind of like what we were talking about with, you know, when we talk about one of the things I was looking up on this, you know, the blood moon and the red moon all coming together, blah, blah, blah. And it talked about it's a great time for closure. And I hate that. you don't get closure when somebody dies or you break up. You cope with it. You learn to move on. But if you can just close the door, then it means the relationship is pretty shallow anyways.
Wouldn't that be wonderful, though? You just be like, all right, talk to the hand, door closed, we're done.
Yeah, and some people can, and some people are psychopaths. It's where they just don't have any feelings at all. And but for the majority of the people out there, for you to be able to go, okay, I don't care about what happened anymore, and shut that door, slam it hard. It was either very traumatic or you're very, very angry.
To do it just like sight unseen like that, because for me, that kind of thing it brews, man. It just sits there and brews and bubbles under the surface and bubbles under the surface. The problem, though, with me is it's all under the surface, so you don't really see it. And then one day, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's enough. And it's not even like a big blow up or anything. It's just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then you just don't hear from me again or whatever, right? I just, boom, we're done.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
I told my wife before we got married, everything else, I tell people all the time, don't put me into the position where I don't care. Because once I get to that position of I don't care, I truly don't care. And
like, I'm done.
And, going through some of that with my dad, I was on a soccer field watching my son play soccer, and I noticed, and he was doing some of his wacky shit and, trying to
be dad,
be melodramatic and everything about our relationship, whatnot. And finally, that's when it hit me. I just square like, not my circus, not my monkeys. This is you wanting this. Have a ball. I don't have to ride this train. And that was when I was able with that to go, okay, now I don't care anymore. I love you. Okay. But I'm just not going to get drawn into your shit,
Right. And that's where I'm at. So poor Melissa says they're trying to cope with the loss of losing their friend. That's tough to do, Melissa. And no, I don't think you'll ever have closure when you lose a good friend. I think you just develop better coping mechanisms, and you struggle with grief and guilt. Listen, I had Rob could tell you because he was there for it. I had a childhood friend who passed away, and we were not even really on talking terms when he passed away, and it really kind of floored me for a little bit. And Rob remembers, because we were very, very close as teenagers, through high school and even after. And it messed my head up. And it took me a long time to sort of get a grip on the fact that, this was a reality. Like, this person wasn't here anymore. So
it reminds us, especially when it's people our age, it reminds us of our mortality. So it affects us on a personal level, but then, like you said, with this person, you weren't even that close. Okay.
Not at the time of his passing. No, not anymore.
But, and Melissa, one of the things I tell people about grief and in working with hospice with children who lost a parent, things like that, some of them will say, and moms and surviving spouses will say, when's this going to end? And it doesn't. Okay. And you know what? One of the things I try to remind people of, you need to grieve. Grief is there for a reason. And when you grieve, it gives, I got the word stuck in my head. It gives verification of what your relationship was really about, what it was like. And if you can just go to closure and walk away from it, then it wasn't that close anyways. But grief does, you used to be the 5 stages of grief, then it became the 7 stages. Now it's the 7 phases, because people realize grief doesn't ever leave. It's going to hit you at different times throughout your life, especially the closer you were to the person. But it's how you handle it. Okay.
Well,
Right now,
I think you're not only grieving the loss of the person. I mean, you are, but you're also grieving what could have been the future, or what could happened if you had not, if this thing didn't happen, if this person didn't pass away, or
right.
But even in relationships that involve people who don't pass away, it's you're breaking up a friendship or a romantic relationship or whatever. You grieve those things, and then even in a relationship like with yourself or through trauma, you grieve the things that could have been. You grieve the loss of the fantasy, right?
Right.
And that's tough.
And it's also, remember, we've shared energy. Okay. I mean, no matter what anybody says, me, Bruce, you and me, Gillian, we have connected on such a deep level. We're entwined in each other's energy. All right. So when that is suddenly broken, all right, we're still left with that. It's kind of like an incomplete thing that we never thought would happen. And that's why, yeah, I believe in grief. I don't believe in trying to rush it, but I do believe that you have to learn, life goes on. The sun's going to come up. And how much are you going to let that affect the way you live the rest of your life? And would the person you're grieving want you to be that affected? Would you, if you were the one, Melissa, God forbid, that ascended, departed, died, whatever you want to say, okay?
We're getting too heavy for Bruce.
Oh, okay.
Bruce, you're such a jerk.
You had me at hello, Bruce.
We're having a serious conversation, and here he comes.
Yeah. It's one of those things of would you want them sitting around being sad the whole time? I want a little bit of mourning. I want to know I meant something. Okay.
Right.
I want to drift in and see, the three people that show up at my funeral. So you and Gillian and Bruce are my audience.
We're guaranteed attendees. Provided that one of us doesn't kick the bucket before you. Yes, we're all guaranteed attendees.
Exactly. But at the same point, then, okay, go ahead and, live your life. Find out what's going on, see what's happening. So, just some of that crazy stuff.
It's tough. So similar but different, because I'm equating like the sudden loss of somebody with doing, because we talked about cord cutting last week, and doing cord cutting when you weren't really ready to do the cord cutting, and you were talking about that empty sort of string of energy that's sort of frayed. Yeah. You got to kind of cauterize it, but this is Brigitte's brain and how it works, guys. So sorry, but I was in the juju store the other day, right?
Okay.
And so the one that was by me on Orange Avenue moved to Winter Park. So I took a ride to Winter Park just to visit their new store. And I was in there, and the lady was having a conversation with somebody. The girl walked in, and she was like, I think I need to do a cord cutting, and I need to do it with this certain person. And the lady was like, whoa. Wait a minute. Let's talk about that, because there's a lot involved, and a cord cutting may not be the right way for you to go, especially. So the person that she wanted to try and cut the cord from was somebody that is involved in her daily life. So to do the cord cutting, you couldn't unless it would not be effective unless she literally packed her shit up and moved, right? Left, and changed her phone number and went off the grid and was unreachable, that sort of thing. This was not realistic. This was not a reality. And he was trying to explain to the girl that, you know, you need to be ready. You need to be prepared to take these steps if you're going to do this cord cutting. And you are not in a position to take these steps. You're not in a position financially or whatever to do these things. And I was sitting there listening and I was laughing, and I turned to the other girl who was running the store, and I said, it's so funny that I'm standing here listening to this, because just Wednesday night, we were having the same exact conversation with people on our show, that you don't just go and, you know, sever ties. Just,
right.
You know, and not without seriously sitting down and deciding, is this the correct thing to do? And am I ready to make the moves that I need to make in order to ensure this cord cutting it sticks?
Right. You know, here's what's funny. Talk about that and the energy and cord cutting and all this stuff. And, you know, Melissa, I'm glad that spoke to you a little bit. I appreciate it. Not trying to get preachy, but it does. You need to embrace it. But then what you're going to do one day is find yourself smiling and laughing about a joke that you and he shared, different things, and you'll start remembering things differently. And they won't have such a heavy heart. And then when you start remembering them in the positive light and it feels good, it will change into something more healthy and so you can get to it. But I saw this the other day. Now, we did a thing about our personalities, and one of mine said, you know, I can have a dark sense of humor. All right. And I know that's kind of hard to believe, right? But you and I are both, with our dark sense of humor, we've both said there's a special place in hell, you know. But I saved this meme, however you say it, okay? Because this is, and I think I'm going to try this. When I'm at hospitals, I put half-eaten sandwiches in coma patients' hands to give their family hope.
That's wrong. There's something wrong with that. Look at you, hysterical laughing. And oh my God, Rob.
I know. I'm sorry, but that's me. It was, you know, but so I should be ashamed, and I really should be, but I'm not.
But I'm not. I'm just not ashamed.
Hey, Cynthia, glad to see you made it. Hope you're feeling better. You know, I will never cut the cord. I talk to him all the time and have had a dark humor with him. There you go. And see, we can carry on. I also believe that a lot of times when we bring somebody back, you know, when we feel their presence, let's put it this way, not just a psychic, they're standing there telling you something, motioning for you to go left, or making an actual full-fledged appearance, but when we feel their presence, sometimes it's us regenerating their energy because we need them at that moment.
Right.
And we have some of their residual energy that we've shared on such a deep level, you know, close by. And, you know, so I think that's good, you know, so.
I think Bruce wants to do some kind of pact with you.
To do what?
Some kind of pact. He says, or Rob and I may go together. There's a history of stupid stuff.
Ain't that the truth?
That'll never happen, Bruce. Gillian and I, we're not that good. God would never bless us that way.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Humor.
Can you feel the love tonight? Oh, well, I told you before. You know, I told Bruce, I taught my wife to shoot. I showed her where the medulla oblongata is and how to get there in my sleep. So when she decides to do it, I won't feel a thing. I like what somebody said the other day. I was listening to something like a comedian or something. He's like, it only takes about 6 Datelines to watch with your wife and go, we're doing okay, right?
Bruce calls it stab them in the ear TV. I used to watch it. Like, I had to stop watching it. I used to fall asleep watching that stuff. And then wonder why I had like crazy dreams, right? But I used to, now I don't really, it never used to disturb me, but now for some reason it disturbed me. Something in my psyche changed, I guess. I don't know what.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to me. And this is that energy thing again, in a way, if you think about it. I used to love, what was the one where Mandy Patinkin was in the first
Criminal
2
Minds.
years?
Yeah.
Criminal Minds. I loved that show. And it was coming on at 10. I would fall asleep to the reruns. Somewhere around season 4, they started doing things with children. Okay. And they got too real with it.
Yeah.
And that's when I went, nope, this got to go. And it wasn't until Gilly and I got back together where we started watching it again. But we're like you, we will not watch it again. It gets too real, and that upsets my frequency, my vibe, the being able to, and shit playing around in my head at night.
And I used to love like Snapped and the Evil Next Door, and I Almost Got Away with It and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, man, I'm not watching that in bed. I used to watch it in bed all the time. On Sunday nights, they do the Snap marathon. Man, I'd watch Snap for hours and hours and hours. And, I don't know. I just can't do it anymore. I don't even watch it. Now I'm watching like what I watch now on like ID or Crime and Investigation channel is like, mobsters. And they go through all the different mobsters and stuff like that. I'll watch that and I can do that. But when we're talking about somebody like cutting up their mom and shoving them in mason jars and stuff, I have issues with that.
Yeah. When I get up early, the first thing I do a lot of times, if I'm wanting to fall back to sleep or whatnot, I go to Dateline. It runs 24/7 and, and then I'm back to sleep. Tonight we were watching Tournament of Champions 7 on the Food Channel on Discovery Plus, and that got done. I'm like, okay, are we watching mobsters or people die? What are we watching?
I love Joe Kenda Gillian. I love him. Homicide Hunter.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh my. I love Joe
I need
Kenda.
to have a talk with this gentleman. Yeah, Joe and I had completely different approaches. Yeah. Come here, you little schmuck.
Joe was smooth.
Oh, yeah, he's smooth. And what was funny was we got more confessions, me and my sergeant, okay, God rest his soul, because it would always start out with, I'm going to be the good guy. I'm going to be the good cop. You be the bad cop. And somewhere along the line, I have a bullshit meter and it trips and I can't take it. I can't be nice anymore. And then all of a sudden he shifts gears and he's trying to be the nice guy. And they're like, what? I'm like, that's so full of shit. I can't take it. Ah! Oh,
night, but not last night.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to run that by me one more time? It's kind of like, is he my soulmate? Well, he's married and has 18 kids. Yeah, probably not. Dipshit. we're meant to be together. Well, somebody should have phoned that crap in, you know, at birth. Somebody
Maybe in
missed
the
the
next
memo.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's too much. But
Lester. Oh yeah, Lester Holt.
Lester Holt.
I talked to Lester. Hey Lester, how you doing? He's like, I'm Lester Holt. Hey Lester, good to see you again, buddy. He's a sharp dresser though. You know, I love his clothes. You know, so yeah. Folks, if y'all didn't know, I'm touched. You know, and I am not right, and it says that in my personality thing.
Right.
But,
we did we ran our natal charts, didn't we? And we went ahead and got our natal charts, and we were gonna see. It gives you like descriptors of your personality based on where certain planets are in your chart. And I contend that some of this stuff does not represent me.
Right.
Some of it does, though. And we were going to chit-chat about that if we came across it and if we had time or felt the need to. But
yeah, there's some things in mind that I'm like, now. But it's like, I remember when you were talking about some of that, I said, do you have something that's like polar opposite where it kind of balances it out? And only like in one spot do I really have that. And you saw a lot because you ran it for me, you know. Man, I got a bunch of stuff in Aquarius, but I was born February 3rd, you know, and it was the day after the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So I'm full on Aquarius, you know, and there are a lot of things in here. I'm like, yeah, you know, I can see that. Yeah. You know, I didn't agree with that. I can be stubborn. Gillian says I can be, but you know, I think Bruce would say I could be stubborn. You know, don't take me to Home Depot when I'm in a mood and I'm feeling protective. But
you know, I think
so what's your rising sign? What's your rising sign?
My rising sign is Capricorn.
Okay.
And let me find it now because I have it up here. And your moon is Capricorn. So I thought that was very interesting, especially since I'm a Leo and you're an Aquarius and we sit opposite each other. Right?
Maybe that's why we get along, light and dark, you know.
It's like heads and tails on a coin, right? You know, it's two sides of the same coin, basically. But it says you are practical and reserved, but very ambitious. An achiever and a hard worker, you respect success. Older looking and very serious as a youth, things lighten up and you relax more as you mature. You have a serious view of the world as being a difficult place to be in. I don't think that describes me at all. I hate this earth. I hate it. I can't wait until I graduate into something else. Very envious of those who seem to have an easier life than you have. Relaxation and play do not come easily. It is important that you had abundant parental support as a child so that you do not feel lonely and isolated as an adult. Oh, that's where we went wrong. It's the abundant parental support that I should have had. There you go. Generally, you have a good earthy sense of humor that can carry you through when times really do get tough. You are purposeful, self-willed, industrious, realistic, and responsible. So that's my rising sign. That's your rising? Yeah. And mine is Aquarius. And my rising sign, it's pretty close, you know. You like new ideas and concepts, but you prefer to discover them by yourself. I can go there. It is not easy for others to convert you to anything. That's true, okay? Unless you can really show me, you know, point out the dots, and then I'll be okay, you know? You form your own opinions, but once you do form them, this is the part I don't really agree with, okay? It says you then want to convince everyone else that they are correct.
only if we're having that conversation as friends do. Okay. Then it's like, okay, Bruce and I will argue points. And I know there are times you and Gillian got up and left the room because of the way we talk about shit and things like that.
Because we don't like confrontation, Rob.
I know. And Bruce is actually better at that than I am, about being more tolerant of other views or being able to turn it off. Okay. But, then it goes this way. Let me see. Too many emotional demands. Where to go? Oh, rising. I'm in my rising. Okay. I need to try to be more tolerant of the opinion of others. And that's where, maybe when I was born and up through my early adulthood, I would go, yeah, I would go with that. Absolutely. But now I feel that's changed. That's shifted with like a wine getting better with age, I've learned, but at the same point too, when I was younger, teens, 20s, 30s, I didn't realize how much anger I was carrying around from my dad. I really didn't. Now that I've dealt with that, okay, and see it, I think that helped me chill the hell out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us are saints. I mean, you get to a point where you're not particularly tolerant. I mean,
yeah,
but it is what it is. I mean, I'm to the point in my life where I could say, all right, well, you do you, and whatever, but yeah.
So what's your moon? Because
my moon is Scorpio.
Okay. Which was the one that you said we were direct opposite? Was that moon?
Right. My rising sign is Capricorn and your moon is Capricorn.
Yes. Okay. And it says you are very serious and shy and very uncomfortable in the situations where spontaneous and exuberant emotional reactions seem called for. Okay. I don't, number one, I don't think anybody can call me shy. There are times I have moments of, you know what, I see where this is going, and I'd rather just sit back and watch. I'll be quiet. Like when my wife's with people from her work, okay, and they're not talking about something I can really chime in on. I think sometimes I appear standoffish, but I'm not. But I don't want to make an ass out of myself talking about something I don't know anything about.
But I think when they're talking about that, they're talking about you showing emotional vulnerability more than what you're thinking, and you will not show that. Knowing you, when you're in a room with people that you are not familiar with or you're not particularly close with, yes, you will not show that emotional vulnerability. Not really. You won't.
No. No. Matter of fact, people say, life of the party. Sometimes I turn to that comedy, to that.
Right.
To deflect.
To shift that.
Yeah.
Away from that.
Yeah. And, and this again is something we all, I came up with, and you've seen it. And I think my generation's Gillian generation came up with a whole lot of self-deprecating humor. Make fun of yourself, talk about yourself, don't be proud or whatnot. But one of the things we've learned in manifestation and frequency and vibration and all of this, self-deprecating humor can be very harmful because you're putting it out there,
Right. And who listens to you? Who listens to yourself talk more than you, right? Like, I don't think that there is a day that goes by where I'm not like, all right, stupid, way to go, moron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I talk to myself like that all the time. Like, oh, way to go. Yeah, you're a genius, you know.
I like what Bruce says. None of us are saints. Have you all met
You all
me?
met me. Yeah.
And then Rob, picture you on a cruise, drink in your hand, and people you will never see again. That's the Rob she's talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like walking up into a group of people and just offer readings that I don't know what, going to the bar, sit down at the bar and
Right,
wait
but
till
you're
you
not
ask a
gonna
question.
but you're not going to invite them into your offering a reading and stuff. That's one thing. That emotional vulnerability, you're not inviting them into like your personal space.
Right. I'll get into theirs,
Right.
when we're doing a reading, but now I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, now there are times to connect. And one of the things social work taught me to do was sometimes you have to interject some feelings so you can make the connection, So, okay, but I'm very guarded about what I share. Or
Right.
once I decide to share, then I'm an open book, It's like, oh, well, so.
Yeah, well, but then that's, I think, I don't know. My moon is Scorpio, and it says my feelings are very intense and never superficial. I don't know. You tend to be either very angry or very sad or completely and totally happy. Your moods are deep, extreme, and not always completely understood by yourself or by those with whom you have to deal. Bruce is like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm remembering one of our last conversations here like a week or so ago when we were going, what the
Emotionally, you tend to prefer to live at the cutting edge of life, pushing your reactions to the ultimate extremes, even if the results are dangerous or upsetting. I think as a teenager, I may have done that. Not so much as an adult. But as a teenager, I would poke you and poke you and poke you and poke you just to see what it would take to get you poked. You are easily jealous and very suspicious. No, I'm not. If anybody said, who's saying that about? You require a great deal of emotional reassurance. A good detective, you are very curious about deep and mysterious things, especially human nature and motivations. Be careful not to be ruthless, tactless, or too overly frank, or you will meet with much resistance from others. Well, if it's here, it's here. I don't know what to do. Sorry.
Yeah, you haven't quite got that break on yet. And there are times I'm the exact same way, where it's like, okay, you really want to go there? Okay. Yeah. So that's crazy. My moon is in Capricorn. Remember that you have the right to comfort, security, and love. Dutiful and patient when you make an emotional commitment, you sign on for the long haul. Your love is long and enduring. I can go with that because once I love somebody, I'll do everything I can until I just can't take it anymore. And that's where that whole thing of, when we talked about turning off relationships, turning off feelings, things like that, that's my survivability mode.
Oh yeah.
When I am deeply, and when it comes to that point, it's like, okay, I don't care.
I can literally see the guy in my head walking around the rooms in my head, just flip and switch, flip and switch, flip and switch. This one goes out, this one goes out, this one goes out, until eventually it's just blackout and you're done.
It's like a defrag. Okay, I got to get the shit out of my head.
I know it. It starts to happen. I'm like, all right, well, the guy is in the room of, pissed off because they're not calling. We're going to shut that light off. Guy is in the room of this. We're going to shut that off.
Yeah.
Shut that off until eventually you're just, everything's shut down and you don't feel anything. And it's like, all right, I'm done. We're closed.
And I call that it's a defensive tactic and it's an emotional escape room, because we got to shut the door. And that is it's not that we're trying not to face anything. We don't see the importance of facing that. This is irrelevant. You know, you're taking up too much of my energy. I don't need this. Doesn't matter what I say or think. So therefore, you know, why am I giving you my energy? So
Right.
that's where I go.
When I get to, yeah, that's it. When I get to the point where it's like, all right, we've been doing this over and over and over again. I'm done. I'm not doing this over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like if we keep looping around to the same thing over and over again, I'm done. You know, or there's just too much. A lot of times with especially with like friendships, if there's just too much ridiculous drama, eventually I'm like, I'm done. I can't even anymore, because like there's no, like I gotta get out of here. You know?
Yeah. It's like that escape ladder or escape, you know, okay, that's it. Done. Shut. Let's reprogram this with somebody else or something. You know, I also have Venus in Aquarius, you know. And I find one of the things funny here, you know, you attract friends and associates who are exciting, different, and sometimes a bit odd.
No.
Yeah, no. We've never gone into places and looked at skulls. You know,
We don't have friends who make jewelry out of bones.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You
You
don't
know,
do that.
Yeah, there you go. You know, so what's another one of my Aquarius things? Mars is in Aquarius. Your ideas and opinions are usually inventive and original. And I do believe that's why I can see through. And I think some of this where psychic ability or things come from, because you can read between the lines. And
Right.
one of the things, if you want to up that for anybody, is learn not to try to tell everybody what's going on. Listen to what's going on.
Right.
And hear their pain, hear their joy, hear their sadness. Here's what's going on. Okay. You know, and again, I think I grew into that because as a young man, you know, if somebody hit me with that and be like, you're off a freaking rocker, you know, that's stupid. Now I'm just like, that's interesting. Okay. You know, or whatnot.
But let's see what my I don't have too much Leo in my chart. My only other Leo on this thing here, as I'm looking through it, is my Mercury. And it says, I'm usually quite convinced that my own ideas are correct, and I enjoy persuading others that they are. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. I'm really not that combative. I maybe as a younger individual I was. I think now, please, you know, get on board or don't. I don't care. You know, like
Right.
you it says
So-
at times you're very stubborn and proud of your beliefs and principles, and you get very defensive when they are challenged. Yeah, sometimes you appreciate truth and honesty, which is true, because don't lie to me. The absolute positive worst thing you could ever do if you know me or in any form of a relationship with me is to lie to me.
Yep.
That is, so you appreciate truth and honesty. You practice it yourself and expect it in others, and you have a good talent for organizing, directing, and planning. You delight in being asked for your advice and counsel.
I got that in one of the signs. I have Leo in one sign, and I love to read it this way. Uranus is in Leo. Okay. So that's so, and what that says is you and your peers are as well demand complete and total freedom of self-expression. You want to make your mark in the world according to your own lights and will brook no interference from traditional authority figures, especially if they attempt to mold or shape you in any way. You're honest and forthright, but a bit offbeat and eccentric. The lack of discipline may hinder you from reaching your goals as quickly as you would like. You know, I'll be working on something. Gillian will tell you
I
this.
feel like doing it.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, all of a sudden you start giving me too many options, or it's something becomes way out of whack and I can't track what's going on. I get very frustrated, and it's like everything off table, start over. Okay. I can't, I got to go back, and there's got to be a logical progression. And I do think that slows me down from maybe it would have had a different ending, because I need to make sense of it. You know what? Am I making sense?
Yeah, but I mean, if you go off half cocked and then you make a poor decision, then you're going to be ticked off at yourself. So, I don't have any Aquarius in my chart at all. No Aquarius, but my anus is in Libra.
Yeah, I realize how many astrology people are rolling over right now. Like, God, dear God. Oh, I do have another Leo. My North node or end node is in Leo. And it says, you prefer to take leadership role when it comes to dealing with others. Absolutely. And you know what's funny is in different things in sales, or like when they would send me to seminars or whatnot, people that knew me, and a buddy of mine has the exact same experience. Okay. When they break you apart, they will look at me and look at everybody at the table and go, just let Rob do it. Just let Rob do it. He'll be fine. And we'll all be fine. And they're like, well, are you going to ask us any questions? Nope. Let me do it. Trust me.
Cynthia wants to know, does all this come from? Yes, it does, Cynthia. I don't have the website. Oh shucks.
Is it on the paper?
Yeah, it was, but
automated online birth reports. This is the thank you page.
Yeah,
Now let me go to the bottom.
One of the tarot readers that I watch, she has the link in her bio.
Here's what's at the bottom. Oh, it's not going to let me copy it.
Yeah, no, it's a PDF. That's why.
Yeah, it's like kiosk.alabe.com /
If you Google free natal chart, you can find one for free. And, I think Astro DN has one, and
yeah. And Cynthia, I think it's a very valid point, because some people will put their whole faith and trust, and I had my chart done. So this is what it is. Well, I don't understand my chart, because all this is somebody's opinion. Okay. I'm not saying it's not an astute or learned opinion or a study of personalities, but it's like taking the Minnesota personality battery, or whatnot, and the one that has I'm a JSTR, I forget their names. I knew them all.
Myers-Briggs, yeah,
Myers-Briggs. There's always somebody or something that doesn't fit the mold. Okay.
I think the astrology is, I think the personality is based on astrologies and what degree in the chart it is. It's way more involved, and I am not that smart when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, you're not smart.
I disagree with a lot of stuff it says. So, like I said, to you earlier, I'm either totally self-unaware, or so if this is supposed to be the blueprint to Brigitte, right?
Right.
I am either completely self-unaware, or some of the information I have regarding my birth time and stuff like that is incorrect, because a lot of this stuff I'm not on board with. Like, I was reading you my sun sign, my Leo sun sign, and it's like, you like to be the center of attention, which if anybody knows me, knows that is wildly untrue.
Yeah.
Wildly untrue. That I'm self-important, which again, I can be at times, but not as a rule. I usually put people ahead of me before,
Right.
and you know what I mean?
We've had that talk that it's okay to stand up for who you are and what you do, but sometimes you're more path of least resistance. I'll just nod my head and keep right on going. And
right. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
I don't want that confrontation. I never compromised myself. That's completely untrue. I have, given up a lot so that somebody else can have it their way, for lack of a better
right.
term. You know,
And
but
Cynthia,
I can be overly hard-hearted. I can be domineering. I can be patronizing sometimes. I can sometimes be theatrical. If you've ever seen Brigitte have a nutty, you know how theatrical I can be as I melt down. So but there's a lot of stuff, like I am not showy. I am not.
yeah. And Cynthia, a lot of this with these natal charts and with star charts and everything is very dependent on knowing supposedly the clearer the data, okay? Because like it does, these say Jupiter is in 18 degrees of Aquarius. So it lets you know how much what star is in because everything's constantly moving. So at that time of day is when they look and they come up with the degrees and all of that. And now I'm with Brigitte. I love the astrology stuff, but I am not going to try to take time to learn it because I don't know if I'm to a stage in my life. It's just data overload. Okay. Memory. I can't remember it. Thank God I memorized tarot cards when I did or whatnot. But runes, I would love to learn runes. I can't do it because I can't make, so that's why you don't see me do a lot of runes. It's not that I don't believe in them, but if I'm going to use runes and rune cards on my show, I'm going to be doing that and reading the book, or hold on, let me get my wife.
Right. Yeah, astrology, especially when it comes to these charts and degrees of the moon and all kinds of stuff. That's my cat, by the way. Sorry, guys. It's like somebody's breaking the house down. Biddy, stop it. I can't. When it comes to all that, and like if you ever look at what one of these things looks like, it's got lines and markings and stuff all over it. I have no idea. I can never make heads or tail of it. I'm like, whatever.
Well, there's some information on here I'm not going to show, but let's see if I can.
Yeah, it's going to show because it's right there by that wheel.
Yeah, it sure is on the wheel. Yeah.
So unless you can block it out,
and it doesn't want me to copy it at all.
Let me see something. Let me see if I can edit mine and block out my personal information.
And it says right here, you will notice certain places in the reading that are contradictory information and it seems to be given. This is to be expected because the personality of most people is extremely complex. For example, at times we are quite shy and other times we are very aggressive and so forth. You will also notice that at certain points in the reading, certain patterns may be repeated over and over, especially in a longer, more detailed report than this one. So there's even a more detailed report that you can go get. This is also to be expected. This simply means that your horoscope has an extremely strong focus on this particular pattern and that you should pay extra close attention to what is said about it. Now, on with your report. And so it needed to know the place, it needed to know the time, naturally it needed to know the date of birth.
Your date of birth, your time of birth, and mine is I should be able to it's letting me. Are you in Adobe Acrobat? Is that what you're
No, I'm just in the one that you sent me. I just have it up on my screen.
Gotcha. Hold on. Let me see if I can share screen. So you see what it looks like?
Yeah, there you go.
So it's all wackadoodle, right? It's all this mess here is
Well, and
crazy.
yours is very like 1, 2, 3, 4,
I'm
5,
all like the top half. I have nothing.
6. You're kind of spread around the whole 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock part of the chart. Okay. Where mine, I am only in 4 signs, 4 places. Everything's flooded into Aquarius. I think this is Capricorn here. And it's full. Scorpio's got 2 things, but
Let
then
me strike you out and I'll put yours up so you can.
okay. Because I don't understand like the triangle in the middle of the circle. I'm not quite sure.
That's like where all your degrees and everything cross, and that's what I don't get. Like I don't. It's like how they all intersect.
Right.
So hold on. Here we go. Let me head back to stage. So there you are.
Yeah. So you see how mine's all very consolidated in 2 to 3 areas. I got a little bit of Scorpio. And I think that's a bleed over from Gillian, honestly.
The Scorpio.
Yeah. You know, so because she's all Scorpio.
And then this one's mine. So I thought I didn't have a whole lot. You don't have a whole lot either as we flip back and forth. But and then this is where Cynthia, this is like where all the the language is, but I don't want to scroll down there because your personal information is down there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. So apologies. But yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So if you're interested, check it out. Okay. Brigitte posted a link down there. All right. And see what's right or wrong and look at the chart and say, okay, maybe this is why this is coming up. It's a blend of things. Okay. Because there's some of this that I see that I'm trying to see what that sign is. Yeah. It looks like there's several things that are overlapping from Aquarius into Capricorn.
Yeah. Well, if I look at your Aquarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Virgo, Leo. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, but.
Well, it was interesting.
Yep. And Cynthia, that's where I am. Astrology can be a little bit. I've tried to have, Gillian's tried to give me reminder pointers, things like that. But hell, I can't even remember what the symbols are, So
that's me. A lot of times I'm like, is that Scorpio or is that because two of them look like M's. They look real similar. So I'm like, is that this one or this one or
Yeah, I know this because of Gillian. The M with the upturned tail, okay, is your Scorpio. The M with the where is it at on here? Maybe that's why they changed it on Capricorn.
You see it. It's got the with the upturned tail, and then if you go over,
2 to the right. Yeah,
it's like fakakta, right? It's so.
Yeah, like a 3-year-old drawing an M. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know what any.
Right. And in tarot, a lot of decks will show you, what stars are in there, things like that. And there's a lot of those decks I will use But then somebody will ask me, I'll be like, you know what? I don't know about the astrology part. Okay. If it speaks to you, let me know and let me know how it speaks to you. All right. But I'm not going to dive into something that I'm not 100% sure about, you know? So, but yeah, there are set signs and things like that that correlate with, especially with the major arcana, you know? So.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot. That's too much. Too
Yep.
much. I have some cheater cards that I can keep with me that give me like little highlights of what some things are and what they aren't.
Yeah, you gave me a deck to try to help me out, you know? But I have a hard time. I guess it's retaining it. Like right now, if you tell me, you know, 3 of Swords, boom, I give you a reading. If you're seeing the 3 of Swords or whatnot, I can tell you what the card is, what it means, you know, everything like that. But you got to give me context of what you're looking for to get a full reading. You know what I mean? But I could do that without card, you know. But
look at this cat.
I know.
She couldn't care less what I'm doing. She just could not.
Yeah.
All right. Biddy, I love you. I do. She's like out of control. She's like, all right, time's up.
Yeah.
But it is 9:06, so we have
there's your timer. Okay. Yeah, you're on my time now. Yeah. Okay.
But, that was an interesting chat. So
yeah.
Looking at these natal charts and
Virgo. Thanks, Gil. Yeah. So all right. Well, there we go. Y'all have spent another hour with Rob and Brigitte.
Hopefully next week we have better information to provide. But
we'll have something. We'll come up with something. We'll figure something out.
But,
so
all right.
Well, it's been fun. Thank you.
It's been fun. Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. And I don't know. We'll see you next week. Rob will see you Monday.
Don't sound so excited. I don't know. Y'all are here next week. We'll talk to you too, you know. So
yeah, I mean, anymore, it's like
oh, the clock struck 9 and we're both checking out.
I mean, we can talk. If you want to keep talking, we can talk.
No, that's all right. I'm ready to go take a pill. So you know. So thank you. Interesting conversation this evening. Thank you. See you next week. Monday night, 7:00. Okay. And then Bridget and I'll be back at it again on Wednesday. All right.
Probably 8 again. We'll talk over how we like this time, or do we want to bump it even a little bit earlier? We'll see.
My Monday night with the 7:00, we had a good turnout. We had a very good turnout. A lot of people can't tell. It's only the people that talk. But there were, at the end of the show, according to YouTube, there was over 60 people in the room with 19 and 20 in there at all times, you know? And so I was afraid the time wouldn't work, but no, for those of y'all who were there and supported and everything else, I appreciate it because it helped me, you know?
Yeah. I think the earlier probably, especially if we got to get up at 0 dark 30.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.